Hello, everybody, and welcome to a very special edition of Talking Trash with Trashpanda. It is not a review this today. To make up for me missing AEW this week, I was thinking, I'll give you guys some more content to stew on before Tuesday. And today, I wanted to talk about my favorite matches of all time, and then later we're gonna have one with Flecha talking about his. He can't compile his list because there's so many. I have my top 10. It hasn't really changed over the years. So I have him here from Triple Smack Talk, Ridiculously Raw, TXN, so on and so forth. All those links will be in the description below. But I have him here to have a reaction and or agree or disagree with my take on what I think are my favorite matches of all time. And the last two are arguably, in my eyes, one of the greatest of all time. So we'll start with number 10. And this one, Fletcher, I think it's going to catch you off guard. Number 10, Prince Puma versus Phoenix, Lucha Underground for the championship. That is my number 10. I fucking love that match. It was 2015. Prince Puma and Phoenix they had this huge fucking rivalry. And Lucha Underground at this time was slowly starting to get a footing. And the two that were great, it was Pentagon Jr., it was Phoenix, it was Prince Puma and Rey Mysterio. But these two, one night in 2015, put on a phenomenal match. High flying antics, everything about Lucha Libre that I love, everything was showcased in this bout. What do you think about my number 10 as one of my favorite matches of all time?
I'm a little surprised that you went Lucha Underground because I know there's some some low key bangers on it.
Yeah,
I would not expect that a Lucha Underground would have made your list. However, that match was
that
absolutely
match,
amazing.
it's
That
insane.
that match was amazing, and the storytelling and everything else. And this is really where Lucha Underground kind of found its footing because it was more like you didn't know what to expect with Lucha Underground because that was almost similar to another TV show, Wrestling Society X,
Yeah, yeah.
during that time.
Mhm.
And it was really kind of that they were doing this underground style wrestling. It wasn't the traditional wrestling like you had because you had TNA running around, you had WWE running around, and there was this one thing that was kind of like you didn't know what type of wrestling you were going to get, and then all of a sudden you got this match, and it was just like, whoa.
Yeah,
So,
because
yeah.
not only that, but at this time, Lucha Underground, like you said, found its footing. I mean, you got to think. I mean, the talent they had Drago, they had Prince Puma, they have guys that like Swerve Strickland, who's kill shot.
Yeah.
They had guys like the White Rabbit, Killer Cross. They had Rey Mysterio Jr. I mean, they had a lot of talent, but this match in particular, in my eyes, set the stage for Lucha Underground going forward. Then we have number 9, and I'm going to be completely honest with you. I feel like this should be on everyone's top 10. Mankind versus The Undertaker, Hell in a Cell. That match, one, when I was a kid, when my grandfather showed me it, I thought it was fake. I was like, yeah, it's not real. But then to hear the backstage drama from it, that match is
Oh, yeah.
fucking incredible.
Yeah. Basically, the little bit of the backstory about this was that Vince gave Taker and Mankind full reign, full creative
Mm-hmm.
control, which normally Vince never does. And the moment that so crazy bump that Mankind took off the cell through the table, that was improvised.
Yeah.
That was
Well,
not
yeah.
on the that wasn't part of the script. That wasn't part of the thing. Foley told Taker, toss me off.
Yeah.
Taker's like, oh hell no, I'm not gonna do that. He's like, dude, just do it. It's gonna be fine. I'll be all right.
If
He does
you've
the like there's so many spots in that match where you're just like, how the hell did this guy survive? How the hell did he think? And one of the more crazier scenes is the tooth of Mankind popping out up into like the nose area. Yeah, right in there. And you're just like, holy freaking crap.
Yeah,
What the
so
hell is this?
with this match, it's not just the match, it's the story. I don't know if you're aware, but going into this match, Mankind McFoley was nervous as hell because they had to top last year's Hell in a Cell, which was Shawn Michaels and Undertaker when Kane debuted. And that was a great, great match. And Mankind's like, we need something to make it memorable. So he's talking with Terry Funk, and Mankind goes, I'm going to start the match on top of the cage. And Terry Funk's like, what? He's like, yeah, I'm going to go on top of the cage. So they go up there. Speaking of which, they're not supposed to be up there. Taker talks about all the time when they were up there, you could hear ding, 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 as all those ties that are holding the cage
It's
just
breaking.
flying off.
Yeah.
The first thing, the most iconic voice line ever from JR, as God is my witness, that man is broken in half. My God, he killed him. That, in particular, sets this match on this list. But Undertaker goes to chokeslam Mankind on top of the cell. One, terrible idea. I don't know why they thought this would work. Also, Undertaker was wrestling this match with a broken fucking foot, which that in particular is insane to me. But Mankind goes through the cell. Not only through the cell, through the fucking ring. Taker thought he killed him.
Yeah.
And the thing that spot would have been completely fine if the chair wasn't there. If the chair wasn't there, Mankind would be totally fine. But the chair bounced up and smacked him in the head, and that's what caused the injuries. And that's why it's number 9 on my list. Number 8.
I honestly feel like that match should be top 5. I'm just gonna.
That's fair. That's fair.
That should be at least a top 5 match in my mind.
There's reasons why my top 5 is the way it is, and I'll get into that.
All right.
Number 8. Not only this match, but this feud. AEW Revolution dog collar match. MJF CM Punk. To this day, the greatest match I have ever seen in AEW. And it's not even close. These two going into this match, the feud was red hot. MJF was doing his best work. Punk and MJF were bouncing off each other. It was fantastic. But the match, oh my God, you talk about the match. Misery Cantera. The face of MJF when he hears Misery Cantera hit is all fucking time. And these two beat the piss out of each other. And to include Wardlow in it and to showcase these two and that Punk can still go. They were a bloody fucking mess. It was a great match. The storytelling is why, for me, it's above Undertaker Mankind. Because everything they did in that match had a purpose in the MJF Punk match. And at that time, it was like 2021, AEW was still trying to get going. Like they were still trying to get that their wits about them. And this match started it. This match started this ascent into 2022 and 2023 when they were really on top of the fucking world. And that's because of Punk and MJF. I mean, do you agree with this match being like as high as it is, or do you think it's too high?
It was a good match. I thought the storytelling was fine. I hate to say this, this is nowhere near my top 10.
That's fair.
Like
That's fair.
This would not be on the top 10 list. But I will say this: I totally get it with the storyline telling. I thought that was great. I kind of felt like AEW was already on the ascension.
Yeah.
I don't think this put them over the top or made them really strong. I just felt like at the very beginning they already had their peak run and that they were still going. They were still elevating. So I already felt like they were already already near the top and everything.
That's fair. That's fair.
At the time, they already were smoking WWE. Like WWE was already on the decline.
Yeah.
They didn't have any momentum until I think it was 2022-23 was when Triple H took over as creative.
Correct.
It was around that time was when the momentum shifted, but AEW was already on top. It was just that they were already at a strong point. So kind of partially disagree with that little ascension thing because they
Mhm.
already were there. As far as the match goes, it was a fine match
Yeah,
and it was a really good body of work.
yeah,
But I honestly, I just don't feel like it is top 10
that's
worthy
fair.
though. But
That's fair.
like we said, to each his own.
Yeah.
So
So
yeah.
number 7, we're about to get into a bunch of WrestleMania matches, so I apologize, but dude, this should have main evented WrestleMania and it didn't. It's another CM Punk match. CM Punk versus The Undertaker. This match should have fucking main evented WrestleMania. I don't care who the fuck you are. This match, the story they told, not only in the feud, but in the match, the urn with Paul Bearer, having Paul Heyman do gimmicks as Paul Bearer at times. This match, in a time when The Undertaker was starting to slow down, this was right before the streak ended. This match with Punk showcased that Taker could still go, but it also showcased that Punk, who was red hot at that time in WWE, it was the obvious decision. Now, I don't think Punk should have ended. I don't think the streak ever should have ended. I'm just going to put that out there. But this match, my God, the amount of close falls, the amount of it felt like Punk was going to end the streak. When he hit him with the urn and then hit his GTA, I went, oh my God, the streak is over. And then he kicked out, and Undertaker doing Undertaker things and, his comeback. And I love this match. I don't think this match gets enough credit for what it is.
Low key banger. Definitely it was memorable at the night. Unfortunately, it has been forgotten.
Correct.
This match has been considered forgettable. Even though, if you look at the way that it was presented at the time, it was a solid story. And yes, the premise around it was right off the fact that Paul Bearer had died.
Yeah.
And Punk was trying to tell Taker, without your guy, without your manager, you're a shell of yourself.
Correct.
You can't hang with guys like me anymore. Mm-hmm. And this is when Punk was really at his peak in WWE. Like, he was already, he had just come off, kind of, you could say, should have been main eventing the year before in 28.
Correct.
Even though now it's Rock and Cena.
Yeah.
But him and Jericho easily could have main evented WrestleMania.
That's 11, by the way. Jericho and Punk is 11.
Yeah, because that match was for the heavyweight championship of the world.
Correct.
And normally at WrestleMania, you would think a WWE championship match or a world heavyweight championship match should be the main event of WrestleMania. And in 28, and I'm just going to go just briefly off, neither match was the main event.
Correct.
Which, to me, I thought was almost blasphemous if you think about it. But for what it's worth, Punk versus Taker was an excellent match.
Number 6. And you're going to say this should be higher. I can already see it coming. But for my personal biases, there's one that's better because it's, in my opinion, I'll get into it. Number 6, Steve Austin, Bret Hart, WrestleMania 13. If you've never seen the photo, Steve Austin, Crimson Mask in the sharpshooter. The moment Steve Austin got over was that moment. Yeah, you have your Austin 316, but that moment in particular, that face of him in agony in his pool of his own blood, they beat the piss out of each other. And I know I said that with Punk and MJF. That pales in comparison to what Bret Hart and Steve Austin did at WrestleMania 13. That match was so fucking good that when I was a kid watching the replay with it, I kept telling my grandfather, I was like, is this match gonna end? Like, is someone gonna fucking die? Like, obviously he didn't say that, but is someone gonna die? Because, I mean, Austin was bleeding like a stuck pig. Like, it was bad. It was real bad. But man, the story of You can beat me to a pulp. I don't care. I am going to win.
Yeah.
Obviously, he doesn't, but man, dude.
And I think the best thing that they did for Austin was they let him pass out because of the blood loss. It wasn't
Fantastic.
that he tapped out. It wasn't that there was anything chicanery
Mhm.
because it was at that moment Austin just his body gave out.
Yeah.
His body gave out, and that is the way that the match ended. But it also signified the double turn
Yeah.
because it made Austin a sympathetic figure and a
Mhm.
hero to the fans, but it also made Bret Hart the cynical villain in the same breath in that match. And I thought that was creatively a brilliant,
Oh,
brilliant
yeah.
move for both men because it gave Bret Hart almost, I want to say, an extra couple years in WWE where maybe his character was going a little stale, but his heel character was top notch with the Hart Foundation and everything else. And then Austin, like you said, that moment at WrestleMania basically propelled him into what was going to end up being a Hall of Fame. And you can
Mhm.
consider maybe one of the greatest eras of his
Yeah.
journey in his career.
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna get flack for this, but this is my personal opinion, because I've never seen anything like it in my life. My number 5, my favorite all time, not the greatest of all time, my favorite all time. Lucha Bros Young Bucks Steel Cage All Out 2021. That match is the greatest tag team match I have ever watched. That match, they the blood, the torn masks of Phoenix and Penta. It was, I have never in my life seen a steel cage like that ever. I have never seen Lucha Libre used that way with Phoenix and Penta against the Americanized indie wrestling of the Young Bucks. It is the Young Bucks' greatest match of their career, by far. Penta and Phoenix, there are other matches that I think are better for them, but this is, and my only top 10 tag team match is this match because one, it solidified the Lucha Bros as a mainstay on AEW at the time, and two, it showcased the body of work that I ultimately think got Penta and Phoenix hired. I think you look at all of their careers. You look at Penta and Phoenix, and they're in Mexico. They're in Japan. You look at all of the in TNA. This match in particular, I think, made Triple H go, "Yep, right there. That's what I want." That right there could propel our and we haven't even seen it yet. We haven't seen the Lucha Bros in WWE, and that's the scary thing because I know what they can do with doing a match like this. Fuck, you pair them with the Usos, this match is gone. It just is.
Yeah.
You pair them against the Usos. You pair them against fucking the Street Profits. I mean, that match right there is gone. It's not on my list anymore. But because they were given this light and because of how I feel about the match, that is why it's 5 for me. And then 4 up for me is literally, I would argue, are the greatest matches of all time in my eyes, the last 4.
I will say this. I definitely can poke some plot holes into that match. However, there is no arguing. Like, as far as brutality, the violence, the body of work, and everything else. And I will say it, I'm one of the biggest Young Buck critics.
Yeah.
I am not a fan of them at all.
Me too. Welcome to the club.
I definitely get there. But that match definitely won me over.
Yeah.
And it definitely had me saying, okay, I'm impressed. That was a great match. So I get where you're coming from. And yeah, you're probably going to get some heat from.
Oh, and that's fine. That is completely fine. But from 4 up, I don't
Yeah.
think there's flack at all. I genuinely think these are the 4 greatest of all time. Number 4, Undertaker Shawn Michaels career versus streak. That is the greatest storyline ever. And I will die on that fucking hill. The ending of that match is my favorite finish of all time. You can ask anyone. When Michaels did this and smacked the Undertaker, in that moment where the Undertaker's switch flipped into the Phenom and the rage, you could feel it in the Undertaker jumping Tombstone 1, 2, 3. That main event of WrestleMania, I wish was the end of the Undertaker's career. I wish that was it, because that match was perfect. That I remember watching that as a kid and being like, that was incredible. When he smacked him and when Taker was taken aback a bit, and then the rage, I was like, oh no, and then he kills him.
Yeah.
He just fucking kills him.
Funny story about that match. I had my fellow colleague Anthony Florio here at my house that night,
Okay.
and we were watching that particular match.
Yeah.
We both said the same thing. We're like, oh.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Taker grabs him. I'm like, all right, another tombstone. And when he spiked him, I just yelled
fucking
it out.
Jumping tombstone, Flecha. He never fucking does that.
Yeah, and I even yelled out, and Anthony will concur. I was like, oh, he spiked him.
Oh, it was fucking brutal.
Once the 1, 2, 3, and I'm like, my God, what a match. So here's the thing. And I always hear this argument every time. The match was good, but a lot of people says 25 was better. And I'll give you this. I thought 25 definitely blew the lid, and it saved that WrestleMania.
Correct.
That was the only match that was relevant in WrestleMania 25. Let's be realistic, ladies and gentlemen. 26 had a couple of good here and there moments, but at the end of the day, this was the one that stole the show.
Yeah.
This match properly got the main event spot, which it deserved, and was exactly what Mania was all about. So yeah.
What the thing with this match that I always argue why it's better, it's the story. And it's Michaels goes out the way he came in, defiant as always.
Yeah.
And that's why I loved it. Now, I said all that about that. That is, in my eyes, one of the greatest WrestleMania main events of all time. It's not the best. It is not the greatest of all time when it comes to that. It is a fantastic match, and that's not where I'm going with this with number 3. Where I'm going with that is number 3 is the greatest wrestling match I've ever witnessed in my life by pure body of work. Will Ospreay, Omega, Wrestle Kingdom. I have never in my life seen a wrestling match where I sat there the entire time with my mouth on the fucking ground. The shit they did. Oh my God. I thought there were like 3 times I thought Ospreay was fucking dead. I thought Omega was fucking dead. It is by far the greatest performance in the ring I have ever seen. And it made me a Will Ospreay fan. I was like, okay, this dude's great. And they follow up with a great, not the same, but a great match at Forbidden Door in 2023. But my God, Wrestle Kingdom, Omega Ospreay is number 3 for me. And I don't even like. You have to watch it to understand. Like it.
Yeah, there's no argument with this one. Like I don't think fans would even been mad.
Yeah.
If you were to put this at number 2, number 1, because that's how great this match was.
Yeah.
And it was literally like normally you get like a slow build or something like within the first 30 seconds, these guys were like, if I remember correctly,
Doesn't it open with a hidden blade?
It was open with a hidden blade.
Yeah, doesn't it open with a hidden blade and he fucking takes his head off?
Yeah, it opened with a hidden blade and you're just like, oh shit. Because it was like a sudden.
Yeah, yeah,
It was like Osprey full charge, hidden blade on Omega. Omega was like, "What the fuck?"
yeah, dude.
And you're like, he got like right out of the gate. We all thought, "Oh my god, he just decapitated Omega!" Like immediately. Like we thought he broke his neck on that hidden blade. So yeah, it was like no arguments there.
So
You that's there.
number two was the greatest match of all time, my favorite match of all time for my life for about up until 2 years ago. CM Punk, John Cena, Money in the Bank 2011. This match, you couldn't get more perfect. These two, they are wrestling soulmates. These two could wrestle with the fucking lights off. These two could do anything they wanted. But at this particular night in Chicago, Illinois, you have to think of the situation. And that is why this is, my opinion, was the greatest match of all time up until recently. This match, stipulation was simple. Punk versus Cena, 2011. Chicago, Illinois, Punk wins, he leaves with the title. And at the time, everyone was like, is this real? Is Punk actually leaving? Is this true? Yes. Up until that night, Punk was done after that match. Correct.
His contract had expired. Yep.
The story they were telling up to that point was Vince McMahon trying to screw Punk the whole time. So much so that John Laurinaitis came down to try to stop him, and Cena fucking kills him. Cena rolls back in. GTS 1, 2, 3. Punk wins the world title. And Punk is celebrating. Vince comes out. He's like, oh, bring out Alberto. Bring out the Money in the Bank contract. Get out here. And Punk, I want this framed on my wall forever. The moment where Punk gets on the barricade, blows a kiss to Vince McMahon, and runs into the streets of Chicago. It was, in a year where wrestling was faltering, the only bright spots was Punk and Cena. And this transcends that decade. This match, oh my God. I like every time I watch it, I'm just like, dude, this is just incredible.
There's no argument with this one. This was a great match. The story was building, and remember, this was coming right off of the infamous pipe bomb.
Yep.
The original pipe bomb. So there was already enough heat going on where it almost looked like WWE was trying to silence Punk because he got a little too personal.
Yep.
He kind of unveiled the velvet rope, areas that you're not supposed to know at the time.
They let him air his grievances. That was crazy, by the way. That was what they told him for the pipe bomb, if you didn't know. Vince told him, air your grievances. And Punk said, are you serious? And he goes, yeah, air your grievances. He goes, are you sure? He goes, yeah. So Punk went out and aired his grievances.
Yeah. And it was more of a story where, Cena being the company guy, being the champion, and Cena knew what was at stake. He knew what was on the line.
Mm-hmm.
So, but he wanted it to do it with the integrity and the honor of the WWE title.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't care about pulling any punches, doing anything. He went out there to wrestle.
Correct.
He went out there to compete and to win the title, the honor, the tradition, and everything. So big up to Cena.
100%.
Because he easily could have been the company stooge. He could have allowed Vince and Laurinaitis to get involved in the fight and to try to play that narrative. But no, Cena fell on the sword because he cared about the business so much that if Punk won the title, hey, Punk deserves to be the champion.
So I want to bring up something that you said earlier that applies here. I want everyone to understand Cena was the babyface.
He was.
But they're in Chicago. That's Punk's town. That's as Punk famously said. It's Punk in Chicago. It's Brett in Calgary. It's Piper in Portland, right? And that's that in particular, that double flip that you talk about, because Punk was already getting over, but it put him even more over with the synonymous kiss blow. Now, my entire life, that has been my favorite match of all time, the greatest match of all time. That changed at WrestleMania 41. Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, CM Punk. I have never in my life been more stunned, been more enthralled when my boy finally got to main event WrestleMania.
Yeah.
That was one of the most emotional nights of my life. Hearing This Fire Burns when he came out initially, and Punk saying, "My addiction is wrestling. I'm straight edge, which means I'm better than you." And all that was great. Like, it was great. But the match these three put on, unfucking believable. Obviously, Seth Rollins is my generation's Shawn Michaels. Roman Reigns is probably my John Cena, because of, he's the company guy. He gets pushed to the fucking moon. And then you have the outlaw. You have the guy that no one ever wanted to be there. The guy that deserved to be there, but never given the chance, CM Punk. This match propelled Seth Rollins so much further than he could have ever dreamed of. Punk did not win, which is fine. But to have the turn of Paul Heyman on Roman Reigns and Punk to join Seth Rollins was incredible. The storytelling, how poetic is it that the steel chair, the thing that broke the Shield up, is the thing that Paul Heyman uses to stab Roman Reigns in the back? How poetic is that once again, Seth Rollins is the one to drive the dying stake into Roman Reigns. This past main event with WrestleMania, Roman Reigns and CM Punk, was good, but it wasn't the triple threat. It wasn't the storytelling that it had. It was great, don't get me wrong, it was fantastic. But WrestleMania 41 was special because of that match. Because WrestleMania 41's card sucked. It was terrible. The Cena Cody match was awful. And then you had this match. And this match carried it. Like, it was, and I'll let you talk about it a bit, the stuff they did in this match, I didn't think Punk could do anymore. And after it, I sat back in my chair, this very chair, I was down here, and I said, okay, that's it. I thought Punk was done. And even after the match, he stood up and, he soaked it in and said, I fucking did it. And I was very emotional when that happened, but it was, if that was it, that was it. And I was happy. I was happy Punk went out. That's fine. Losing a WrestleMania main event, but he brought the house. He was the one that drove those ticket sales, finally getting to ascend the mountain, finally getting to be in a main event. It wasn't for a title. It wasn't for anything other than it was a fight. And that is why it was fantastic. The fact that it didn't need a title, the fact that it didn't need a reason, it was just finally it's time. Yeah. And they all delivered. Every single person in this match had their moment. But man, when Seth turned, when that whole thing turned, when Punk got turned on, I expected it. Because, with Ryback, Paul Heyman's already done this. I get it.
Yeah.
But did you hear the crowd when Paul Heyman turned on Roman Reigns with a low blow?
Yeah.
The pop that he got. And man, Seth Rollins, again, being the shitty heel that he is, taking advantage, and the vision began. Such an incredible main event, my favorite match of all time, and what I believe is the greatest WrestleMania main event of all time. It is yours.
I will say this. the story fit the narrative. I thought leading into it, and that was always the one thing, is that I think it really popped off the minute was when it was the contract signing on Monday Night Raw. And actually we can even go further back. Heyman asked Punk, if you can help my tribal chief, I owe you one. He helped them out in Survivor Series in the War Games. Mm-hmm. They won the War Games. And
no, they lost.
No, that's right. They did lose.
They did lose, yeah.
They lost. But they actually did get the remember my thing. And Roman was thinking this whole time, oh, he just wants to be in the main event. And you remember the contract signing. Punk comes in, he's looking at that contract, going to that, looking through the pages, and I think we were there that night, and we're like, what the fuck is he looking at? Like, what's he looking for? And I remember Heyman is like, I think I know what you're looking for, and it's there. And I think we all knew at that moment, and you started getting emotional. I remember
I can't even describe to you the realization when I realized that he was main eventing, and I was just like, because my whole life I never got to see my hero main event at WrestleMania. I got to see Cena do it, but I never got to see Punk do it, and it always bothered me that it was never Punk. And when those words came out of Heyman's mouth, it was fitting that it was Heyman. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. So the narrative was that it was supposed to be about Punk being in the main event of Mania. Seth was stewing the whole time. So you kind of knew something was up. So you knew Seth was slowly turning to a heel, but not in the way that we all thought. Heyman was the ultimate wild card in this match. And granted, this was a great main event. I thought there was one match in WrestleMania history, another triple threat that's better. When I do my list, I'll put that match in. That match is in my list. I'm not going to mention it tonight because I don't have it ready.
Yeah.
I'll give me about a week.
And that's fair. No, that's completely fair. But for me, I mean, why it's my top of all time? Because it's personal to me. That is why it's. I believe in my heart of hearts, it is the greatest main event because of the situation surrounding it, and obviously biasy. But the thing that people don't understand with that match in particular is that pissed probably a lot of people off that Punk finally got to main event. It not only that, but there was a lot of things surrounding that match that were going on at the time. But yeah, I mean, that for the longest time it was Punk Cena, and then Punk got to main event, and it had to be number one. Now, Roman and Punk this year was really good, but it didn't elicit the same response that 41 did, where Heyman turned on Punk, and I was like, oh, that I expected that. But Heyman turning on Roman and then Seth winning, man, it propelled into that Raw after Mania was incredible.
Oh yeah.
And just the feud with Seth and Punk was great. But what that match did, Flecha, and why I think it's even better than people give it credit for, there's still unfinished business between two men. Rollins and Roman. That has still to be solved. The two that have been toiling over each other for years, their entire career, this has to end at some point, and they're going to pull from this match. I guarantee it. I took your wise man. I beat you in the main event of WrestleMania. There are going to be things that they use from this match for that feud, and it's probably going to be their last feud. I think the two of them will go out retiring each other. It is the perfect swan song. It is the perfect dance, and I think it's only fitting that it's those two to do each other if WWE is smart. But
Yeah.
that has been my top 10. Obviously, it's not perfect by any stretch of the imagination. It's literally just sitting here. I thought of one to replace one of them, and it was Christian versus Randy Orton at SummerSlam in that Extreme Rules match in 2011. That match was fucking amazing. Let me know what you guys think. Obviously, we'll have Flecha back on to talk about his, because I'm interested to pick his brain on his and ask some questions, because he said some of the stuff is different from his, and I'm very curious to see which one it is. Obviously, it's probably going to be more Japan matches or like deeper roots of Mexico matches. But yeah, ahead of tonight's Friday Night SmackDown, Cerebral Smack Talk will be up tomorrow. Yes?
We are doing a show tonight at
Tonight?
11.
Okay.
It's gonna be live tonight at 11.
Okay.
We are covering TNA wrestling. We're doing the SmackDown live, and then for all you fans in the New England area, there's a big wrestling event. Support your local indie wrestling folks. There's a company that I normally go to called Renegade Wrestling Alliance. It's called RWA. They got a very unique event called Wrestle Prom. This was actually created by a couple of the guys. So it's going to be a prom type setting with professional wrestling, unique event. It's going to be local in my area. Tickets are still on sale for the event. And we're going to run the entire card down. Myself, Anthony Floyer, we're going to be running the card down at 11 p.m. And so it'll be on Braves Fan 95. And we'll see you guys tonight.
Before I let you go, I do have some questions, because I don't cover SmackDown, but you do. Are you excited for tonight? Because as someone who doesn't cover it and someone who watches it somewhat, the understanding that they had to pivot due to Brock Lesnar retiring makes a lot more sense why it's so disjointed. With Gunther and Cody. Are you excited for that feud, and do you think there's legs to it?
I am cautiously optimistic. I want to say that right now, I like the fact that they're doing Cody and Gunther, because Gunther was just lying in the weeds. There was nothing that he could done on Monday Night Raw. I think it's refreshing that he's on SmackDown. And on top of that, we've never had Gunther versus Cody before.
Correct.
I think this is like a first-time match. So that's the one thing that me and Anthony really love, is that when you have fresh face matches, new ideas, new visions, new everything. When you get something like that's what us wrestling fans like, is that I don't like a repetitive, that it drags on for weeks and weeks and weeks. Unless it's something like a Carmelo Hayes versus, I think it was Carmelo Hayes and where it was like a 7-fight series or something like that. Those are the type of matches where if you elevate it week after week after week, that's when you get us interested. But there's times where you're just like, oh, again? We already saw this how many times? So I think Gunther versus Cody is interesting. And I kind of feel like, and I get it, because I think the original was to go with Orton versus Cody.
Is he on vacation now?
I don't know if it was a vacation or if there was an injury.
Okay.
I think they said he re-aggravated the back at WrestleMania.
That's not good.
That he re-aggravated the back. I know.
That's terrible. That's a terrible thing to hear.
When I heard that, I feel like you know me. I'm a big Randy Orton fan.
Well, that's the thing, is
it was like a gut punch to me when I heard that. It
felt off, because like there was rumors from Meltzer and all these guys, Fightful, for example, that it was going to be Orton Cody at Backlash, and then Orton just disappeared. Which, if it's the back injury, I wish him nothing but the best. But you know, we go into kind of my sort of, as we wrap things up here, just to close out kind of wrestling, but in a different line, which I might start doing depending on where we go from here. Uh, I want to talk about the game that I watched last night and the games that took me away from watching AEW. Buffalo had to win last night. It is without a doubt Buffalo had to beat Montreal, and they didn't. Not only that, Owen Powers is banged up, and a bunch of other injuries for Buffalo as well. Your thoughts on that game in particular? Because it started like a fucking bat out of hell.
Yeah, it basically, and I think it was you, me, and one other person, and
Yeah.
we all were talking about how this first period went absolutely insane.
Mhm.
5 goals in the first period alone,
Yeah.
and for Montreal to come back and basically score, I think, 4
They
unanswered.
did. They scored 4 unanswered. Yeah.
4 unanswered, and it's just like at that point you're just like, what could Buffalo do?
So
Now you're going back to Montreal in a game 6. You already know how that crowd is. If game 3 and game 4 is any indication, game 6 is going to be absolutely insanity.
I don't think it matters though. And that what I mean by that is my prediction for the Cup this year is going to be Colorado and Carolina.
I think everybody
do
has
not,
that one right now.
I don't think this series matters. I thought it mattered at first. I thought with Montreal and Buffalo, I thought it mattered. But you got to understand, Colorado or Carolina is 8-0 in the playoffs.
Yeah.
They swept twice. Their goalie is playing his best fucking games in his career, and Svechnikov is unfucking believable. And on the flip side, in the Western Conference, let's talk about the fucking Avs. They slammed the door on Minnesota. Nate McKinnon slams the door. He grabs the hold of it and fucking shuts it. And then you look at the Vegas Knights versus Anaheim, and they're great. Don't get me wrong. Vegas and Anaheim, they're great teams. But they're not Colorado. They're not Carolina. And it sucks because I love playoff hockey. It is by far the best hockey and the best sport. And I'm glad it's starting to get its recognition. But right now, I'm looking at these two and I'm like, how do you beat these teams? How do you beat Carolina when their goalie, when Pachetkov is having his fucking greatest run of his career, when Nathan McKinnon's making shots that are unfucking believable?
Mm-hmm.
How do you, and obviously momentum's a thing, and maybe this long rest for Carolina is not a good thing, but in hockey, I disagree. I think hockey's the one sport where rest is very important.
Especially with a lot of the guys, because the reports are coming out. Like, we found out after the Edmonton series that Connor McDavid broke his ankle. Like, God knows how long he's going to be out.
Yeah.
And we're gonna hear a whole bunch of different injuries, a whole bunch of different things. So I don't know how that's gonna look or what's gonna happen. All we know is that the only reason why you have all these broken bones, all these broken things, rotator cuffs, whatever, is because you want to win the cup. You don't care about it. You'll numb the pain.
Yep.
You'll take your Vicodin. You'll take whatever you need to take. You'll do like an emergency surgery. You'll probably play with that on a walking boot, whatever. Because the thing is, you want to win the cup, and this is playoff hockey. So this is where they separate. Normally, playoff hockey is where they separate the men from the boys.
100%.
That's what it is. It's not that you got the mentality. It's that how bad do you want to win the Stanley Cup? And that's going to be the big story. Once it's over, that's when we find out all the crazy shit. And you're just like,
I think, for example, like with this particular playoffs, like the NBA as well, there are teams that are starting to set themselves out. In the NBA, and I'll touch on it for just a fucking moment, Cleveland and Detroit, for example. Detroit losing at Detroit, and Cleveland has a chance to close it out tonight in Cleveland.
Yep.
One, Cleveland's undefeated at home this year. That is their first. By the way, last game was their first road win.
Yep.
In the playoffs. And the way James Harden and Donovan Mitchell were playing, Detroit's done. But I don't think it matters. Because I think New York. Yes.
Yeah, New York is going to the final.
New York might have the best team right now, but it's not going to matter because of Wemby. I mean, Flecha, let's and then we'll wrap it. Without Wemby, the Spurs are good. They're good enough to compete with the T-Wolves. With Wemby, they beat them. They're unstoppable. You can't beat them. Now, I will say, Flecha, when it comes to Wemby, and this is before I let you continue on, there is one thing that I want to say, and it involves referees and protection of the players. And the Spurs head coach said it, and that's why I wanted to say it. One, well said by the Spurs head coach. If you're not going to defend Wemby, if you're not, as a referee, if you're not going to call fouls, you're not going to do that, and they're going to beat the piss out of Wemby, what happened to Naz Reid is going to keep happening with the elbows. If you're not going to defend the players, if you're not going to protect the players, that's going to happen. Because, one, Wemby's long, he's tall, he's very lengthy, and they're just smacking him and they're grabbing him, which, you know, in the old NBA, that's not a foul, and I get it. But this is now. There are rules now. Like, I get it. Like, it's a pansy sport. That's fine. I don't care. If it's a foul, it's a foul. And call it. Like, don't do this bullshit where you're being favoritism. But Wemby is going to dominate the NBA until we get another Wemby. And I'll leave it at that.
Yeah. I definitely agree with most of the stuff that you're saying. The thing that makes me wonder is because of how good Oklahoma City has been. And I think that's the one thing is that I think they can neutralize. And because of their defense, I think they can neutralize Wembanyama and San Antonio. If it's San Antonio and OKC, which I think it probably will be for the Western Conference Finals,
7.
That's a hell of a final.
It's going to 7.
And it most likely will. I kind of feel like OKC is the favorite because of the team defense that they do. Because I think that's going to be the big thing. Because because I think their strategy will be like, okay, Wemby will get his, but we're going to shut your boys down.
Yeah.
We're going to shut your role players out. If Wembanyama goes off, fine. He can go off, whatever. But we're going to shut the rest of your core down. And that's what OKC does. Like, they let LeBron go off. They let LeBron go crazy. He went nuts. But Hachimura, nowhere to be seen. Austin Reeves, nowhere to be seen. DeAndre Ayton, don't even get me started. ATV out was for him because he was nowhere in that freaking series. But that's the thing. They'll let the superstar player get their points. They'll get their whatever. They'll do their damage. But your role players aren't going to do shit. And that's where I feel like OKC will win the series. I agree it'll go 7, but I think Oklahoma City will win the series because of that.
That's fair. Well, ladies and gentlemen, if you've enjoyed, let me know. Leave a like and subscribe. As I said, I'm going to leave links to not only Fletch's channel, but TXN and Cerebral Smack Talk and all those good things. If you like the other sports talk, let me know. I am more than welcome to talk about other sports, baseball, basketball. I don't know much about baseball, but I am a fucking wealth of knowledge when it comes to fucking basketball. Obviously, when football comes around, I'll probably cover the Bengals for the most part. Reaction to games, talking about maybe listening to some press conferences and my reaction to said press conferences. After the schedule review or after the schedule release yesterday, I'm confident we'll win the AFC North, and a lot of people are saying we're going to make the AFC Championship. So that would be sick. But I've been seeing the rumor that the Bengals are AFC title bound, which I would love to. There is orange in the Super Bowl logo. I'm just saying. That's
I
the
heard
funny
about
thing.
that. I
Yeah.
heard about that.
Um,
And oddly enough, if they do go back to the Super Bowl, I think it's back in. No, it's not SoFi.
is it in Miami?
No, it's not Miami. Miami's not going to get a Super Bowl anytime soon, is what I've been hearing. So I think it's Atlanta. I think it's
here's my thing about the whole, that conspiracy is weird, and it's a weird coincidence. Why I think we're going to be better this year, and why I'm glad no one's really talking about it, is this is unprecedented what we did in the offseason. Obviously, you're a Miami Dolphins fan. You're a huge Dolphins fan. You love the Dolphins, and they make moves to make their team better. You have to understand something. What we did to get Dexter Lawrence, we don't do.
Yeah.
For years, Cincinnati and Mike Brown just sit on their hands and do nothing. This is the Joe Burrow effect, and it's going to keep happening. It's going to continue. People are like, oh, well, if the Bengals don't do well, they're going to get rid of Joe Burrow. No. Because Joe Burrow, I think, is responsible for the Dexter Lawrence signing, the Boye Mafe signing, the Brian Cook signing, even though he wanted to come home. I think Joe Burrow has more stake in this team than any quarterback has ever had in the NFL with the Cincinnati Bengals. It pales in comparison to Carson Palmer. It pales in comparison to Boomer Esiason. I am very, very confident of this year. I do not think we're going to go undefeated. I don't. I think we're going to lose some division games because we do. It's what we do. We can't beat Cleveland. We just can't fucking beat Cleveland for some reason. But we play. What week do we play you in Hard Rock?
Week 5.
Week 5, we play you right before our bye.
Yeah, and that's right before Miami's bye.
And that's a win. I think that's a win in our eyes. And that's nothing against you. It's your first year quarterback, right? For you guys with Malik Willis. It's his first year on that offense. It's your new head coach, right?
Yep.
I mean, it's nothing. It's no slight against you guys. Are going to run the AFC East sooner than later. I have no doubt in my mind on that.
I think with Miami is that it is a full rebuild. So even the Dolphin fans are kind of like, we've accepted the fact that we know we're not going to be great this year, and we know that the schedule's brutal for the Miami Dolphins. I don't know if you guys.
Do you like the Malik Willis signing? Do you think he's going to work out in Miami? Because I do. I think
he will, because of the fact that I kind of feel like they want to be run first. So that's why I think the Devon Achane signing was massive. Great signing. It was a team-friendly deal. It didn't break the bank.
Yeah.
32 guaranteed. It's about $16 million all in all, and it's a 4-year deal. I like it. I thought it was a fair deal, and it doesn't break the bank on Miami. That it gives us enough wiggle room to navigate through. Oh, by the way, the Super Bowl this year is actually at SoFi in Inglewood. And the last time there was a Super Bowl in Inglewood, Cincinnati was there.
One play away. One fucking play away.
But a lot of people are feeling that might be the
if we have a rematch, we'll win. By the way, if we play the Rams again, we'll win. I think, because their team has not changed. Our team has changed a lot. But before we actually wrap this up, I do want your opinion, because I'm going to say mine, because we got on this tangent. My 2 surprises for this year for the NFL in the NFC and AFC team wise. In the NFC, my surprise team that's going to shock everyone is the New Orleans Saints. I think that team is better than people are giving credit for. Yes. I think they made moves in the offseason. They got their receivers, and I think that quarterback's going to take the next step. And in a division that's weak, they could make a run. Now, the Panthers are there as well, and I think they're going to be better because they got my boy, Chris Brazzell. But I think the Saints are going to take that next step. In the AFC, I hate it. I fucking hate it.
Pittsburgh?
No. The team that's going to surprise everyone in the AFC is the Las Vegas Raiders.
Oh. Okay. And
Here's
I know
why.
you said, and I know why you just said
Here's
that. Because
why.
I hear the disappointment.
Here's why. Not only did they get Fernando Mendoza, and he's not going to play this year. That's not the reason.
Yeah.
They got Kirk Cousins. And one thing about Kirk Cousins is he's a system quarterback. He worked in Minnesota. He worked a little bit in Atlanta. The thing that works out really well for him is his offense is in Vegas. The offense he ran at Minnesota is in Vegas. It's a run-first offense. You got Ashton Genty. You got Brock Bowers. You got two big dudes. It's Kyle Rudolph all over again. Kyle Rudolph and I used to be a huge Minnesota fan growing up. It's Kyle Rudolph and I'm trying to think of the other tight end's name that they had. But then you have your receivers, your tall, big-bodied receivers. You have guys that can make plays on the outside. Trey Tucker's there. You got another boy from Tennessee, Dante Thornton. He's 6'5". And again, those are big-bodied receivers. But the thing that people are forgetting is why the Vegas Raiders are going to be good next year is the coach, the Rams defensive coordinator. As long as it's a defensive-minded coach with that defense, they're good. Max Crosby had a great year last year. They added more players this year. And if Jermod McCoy can get healthy, oh my God.
Yeah, the Raiders
that's a
could be
top 10. That is a top 10 corner. Now, I say surprise. Will they be bad? Probably. But they're going to do what the Panthers did last year. They're going to be spoilers. So games where the Chiefs need a win, gone. Games where the Broncos need a win, gone. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be like my pick for the Super Bowl. Obviously, I'm biased is Cincy. Since I want a rematch, Cincy Rams. Obviously, the Rams were one play away last year. And their team hasn't changed. Yeah. Unless Matt Stafford gets injured, nothing's going to change. Which is why I say Cincy, LA. But yeah, I think your surprises, and it's not popular, by all means. New Orleans is a fucking dumpster fire in a crypt because of the injuries and stuff. But I think they did great in the draft. I think that quarterback's going to take another step with that head coach, Kellen Moore. And on the Raiders side of things, Kirk Cousins is going to teach Mendoza. And, brother, they're going to win the AFC West within the next 3 years, I think.
I can agree with that. I can agree with that.
So what is your surprises and Super Bowl matchup? I'm just curious.
Super Bowl matchup right now, I gotta go Buffalo for the AFC.
Oh, okay.
Because I believe that, you know, I think this year Buffalo is gonna take that step. I think I'm not buying.
History would disagree with you, but go ahead.
No, I know, and that's against conventional wisdom. I know. Yeah. And the other team, I'm probably going to say I think it's going to be the Rams because I think Seattle's going to take a step back. Obviously, the loss of Kenneth Walker
is going to hurt them more than anyone know. When they decided not to sign him and sign Charbonnet, I said one thing. You just lost. How do you not re-sign the Super Bowl MVP?
Yeah. And then let him walk to Kansas City. The only reason why I'm not picking the Chiefs is because I don't know what the health of Patrick Mahomes is going to be. I don't know.
Thank you. No one's talking about this. No. Thank you.
And that's the thing. Now, I know everybody's like, Mike, why did you not pick Denver? Wasn't Denver like a couple of plays away from making the Super Bowl. And I'm like, yes, but the thing is that I think Buffalo saw the blueprint and they were like, look, we got whatever the case may be. Last year was not our best year. We had so many injuries. If that's a full team, I think Buffalo makes it to the Super Bowl. I really do. I still have faith in Josh Allen. I still have faith in James Cook. I still have faith in the team. Now, receiving wise, that's a question, but they do have a top 10 defense. That defense is really good. And I really think that's going to be the difference. Over in the NFC, I mean, I'm with you and say the Rams because I kind of feel like the Rams are the most complete team. If there's one team that could be a surprise, as long as they're healthy, I think could be the San Francisco 49ers.
Is that a surprise, though? Because they do the same thing every year.
No, because, again, if you're going surprises, that it's not the Niners. Obviously, I'm just saying.
I get what you're saying. Yeah.
Team, they're going to be that team that they could be my 1B going into the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as surprise goes, I want to say, who would be the team?
By the way, another reason why I said the Saints is they drafted Jordan Tyson, who in my eyes was the best receiver in the draft and fits the type of offense that they're running down in New Orleans. But go ahead.
I definitely can feel that. I think the only team that I can think of.
And the surprise can be bad too. Like it's not a good, like, so for example, a surprise for a lot of people, for me, like that's bad. Like I didn't say, the Packers are going to suck this year. I think the Packers are going to be terrible this year.
Yeah, I agree with that.
But everyone's saying they're going to go, like they're going to be Super Bowl bound. And for me, after what I saw last year, I think they're going to suck this year.
I don't think so. I mean, I could, if anything, if you want me to go that route, I think the team that could be bad this upcoming year is going to be the New England Patriots. I'm going to go New England because I kind of feel like, look, last year, and I know a lot of people says, oh, but they had a cupcake schedule and that's why they did what they did and they had all this breakout. Understandable, but New England
lost Stephon Diggs.
But they lost Stephon Diggs. They lost a couple of pieces on the defensive side, but they did reload a little bit. But also, what about that Mike Vrabel situation?
Again, controversy is not good for football.
How much is that going to weigh on the team? And it is weighing because there's been some talk around here in the New England area that Vrabel's job is in trouble. And the thing is, the national media is not talking about it because, you know, that's the national media. But around here, there's been a little whispers coming out of Foxborough, and I'm about maybe an hour and a half from Foxborough where I live. So I've been hearing a lot of rumblings coming from Gillette that Vrabel's on thin ice right now. That if any more of things come to light,
because it just keeps getting worse. It just keeps getting worse.
They might have to do an about face, and New England may be looking for a new head coach. Even though the fans are like, no, he's our guy. We're sticking by him.
Doesn't matter.
Hey,
court of public opinion.
Yeah. You know, because if you're going to say it, court of public opinion, especially here in New England, Vrabel's the guy. Yeah. Vrabel's their coach. They're going to ride or die with them, no matter what the situation is, because he got them to the Super Bowl. He got them to the game. So, obviously, Vrabel here, he's got the leeway more than any other coach around here. But that's a story for another day.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that has been Talking Trash with Trashpanda. If you've all enjoyed, this will probably be up on Saturday. So I hope you all enjoy SmackDown, and I will post Cerebral Smack Talk, and don't forget to check that out. But thank you all for watching, and I will see you all in the next one. See you Tuesday. Have a great rest of your day.